Gratitude is not well, here's what she was teaching me, what I've learned and what I use literally every single day now. Gratitude is not minimizing our pain. It's not ignoring our pain. It's not covering up our pain. It's not being all positive and happy and acting like everything's great and easy and smooth and roses. It's acknowledging what empowers us through. And again, it's what we talked about earlier of two things can be true at the same time. I can
Mhm.
be grateful for the gift of a guide dog and be deeply sad that I can't see.
There are healers on this planet with the power to soften the suffering of mankind, yet they have remained in the recesses of the world, abused, discarded, and labeled as trash. This is The Touch of a Mustang. I am your host, Shalise Clough, and I'm here to tell the story of wild horses, Mustangs, and the humans who are discovering and sharing their gifts while working to protect their well-being and preserve their spirit so this divine power won't be lost. Join us on this quest with the Wild Mustang.
The first 9 years of life were normal. I was that fearless, outgoing child, never met a stranger, not afraid of anything. And then at the age of 9, I was diagnosed with there wasn't a formal diagnosis, but the doctors could tell there was a major problem going on with my eyes, with my retinas. Then fast forward as a teenager, I lost all of my sight. So by the time I graduated from high school, I have what I have now, which is very limited light perception, but absolutely no usable vision. So in those teenage years, I had to adapt and adjust and figure out how to live life now as a person without sight, still in the sighted world. So that's where the journey all started is in those teenage years.
Wow. Yeah. So, what was the thing that prompted the doctors to look at your sight?
So my parents noticed very, very, very minor changes. As a 9-year-old, I obviously didn't notice, but they noticed just very slight changes like I was holding books closer to my face.
Mm,
Or in the living room or the den, I was sitting in the chair closest to the TV rather than just anywhere in the den. Again, they were such minor changes. Like I'm not talking about
yeah.
they weren't major, I'm holding the book up to my face, but just slight changes that they noticed. It's a little different than she was doing a few months ago.
Yeah.
But they
So, they're
both
probably just thinking maybe you need glasses or something,
that
I would
that was
guess.
what I was getting ready to say. That you said it perfectly. Yes, that's exactly what they thought. They thought, "Oh, okay, no big deal. We'll just take her, get some cute, pink glasses, and move on with life." Yeah, not at
Hmm.
all expecting. So they thought it would be a very, very routine appointment, just where I would get glasses, and the biggest issue would be me picking out the glasses,
Right.
and
Yeah.
the frames, the colors, all that. And the doctor took one look at me and said, we have to get her to a specialist now. And this can't wait. And then that led to me being at Emory in Atlanta and just, a specialist, a pediatric specialist, retina specialist. So yeah, it all started by my parents noticing just slight changes. But again, like you said, assuming very minor, nothing like what happened.
Yeah. So, then how did that lead to a diagnosis?
So
Like,
there
at what age were
wasn't
you diagnosed?
yeah, so no, there was no it was extremely rare. Even now as a
Mm,
41-year-old, I'm still in process of doing blood tests and trying to figure out why did a perfectly healthy person start, the cells, the retina start deteriorating. So
mm.
that was the hard part. It was completely unknown. All the doctors could say is the cells in your retina are dying. They could not say at what rate or what age I would go blind.
But they knew that you probably would not be able
Yes,
to
but they
see.
assumed 40, 60, way down the road.
Oh my goodness.
No one was expecting or prepared for a teenager.
Yeah. So then you hit your teenage years, which are already challenging
Right.
on a normal
Right.
baseline.
Right.
What was that like? Tell us more about that experience.
The initial reaction was denial. Oh, I'm not
Mhm.
going blind. I'm just losing a little bit of vision. Or I would tell myself, oh, this is not forever. By the time I graduate from high school, it'll all be over. And I have no idea
Mm.
why I said the end of high school. I think that was just a defining marker that I could point to in life. I mean, no one said
Mhm.
that or thought that. That wasn't reality. That was just something I said. Oh yeah, by the time I graduate from high school, it'll all be back. This will all be over. The denial quickly wore off, and what did last for a long, long time, years and years, was the anxiety, the depression, because it was a grief process, and not just
Yeah.
one grief process. It was a constant process of loss. I would lose a lot of vision and then think, okay, this is where it is. And then I would lose more. So I
Mm.
wasn't just grieving one time, I was constantly grieving. And I was also, what also made the depression so much worse and the anxiety, I knew how easy life was with such. So I had that reference. So that just made the emotional response and reaction that much more difficult. And like you said, still a normal teenager, right? Like still the normal hormones and wanting to fit
Yeah.
in and wear the right clothes and be like everyone else. And so you have all that going on top of adjusting to living life without sight.
So how did that go through your mind? I imagine you probably had some roller coasters, especially when you didn't really know for sure when you would lose it. And even mentally, it's probably hard to process that this was going to be a lifelong thing. What
Yes.
was that mental roller coaster like for you, especially as a teenager and even beyond?
It was like it manifested physically in lots of panic attacks. And
Mm,
it also, on a physical level, it was the panic attacks of, "I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do with this."
hmm.
On the cognitive level, it was, I can't, I can't. I don't have the strength to do this. I can't do this. This is too much. It's too overwhelming." A lot of people instantly assumed my mindset was why, and it absolutely was not why. And when I look back on, oh, why was it not why?
Hmm.
I honestly, I didn't even have the strength to ask. I truly, I was that anxious. I was that depressed. It was only, I can't do this. I can't, I can't, I can't.
Yeah. And how did that thought process affect your mindset?
Everything was just, this is too hard.
Hmm.
Just, I don't have the strength.
Yeah. But somehow you did find the strength. You moved forward at some point. I imagine you accepted it. What was that whole process like from when you're in denial, recognizing this is a lifelong thing, to now where you are using it to help other people?
So it was 100% the support around me. So the whole time that my mindset is, I can't, I don't have the strength. I'm living in constant panic attacks. And when I say that, I don't mean like a panic attack one once a year. I'm talking like several throughout the day, every day.
Mm, yeah.
So as I'm feeling this and experience this and thinking this, it was only the support around me that kept me going and allowed me to move forward to where I am today. And what I mean by that support very practically, because we all just kind of throw that around as a cliche, like, oh, yeah, support around me, depending on this, whatever. But what does that look like? When you're living a panic attack, what does it actually look like in life? For me, one of the ways that it looked like was, again, my parents reminding me, or not reminding me, teaching me, all we have to do is take it day by day.
Mm,
So the panic attacks were coming from, I was so overwhelmed by the present, but even more
hmm.
overwhelmed by the future. how I graduate from how I go to college, how I major in anything, all these life
Yeah.
questions I'm trying to figure out now as a blind person. So clearly, all those unknowns were shutting me down. And my parents would just kind of stop me and remind me, first, you got to get out of bed, get a shower, get breakfast, and get to school on time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if if we don't, if you don't get to the first class on time and pass that class, there's no point in worrying about the future, right?
Right.
Because, like graduation's not gonna come. So it was their constant reminder of be in the present. And it's not be in the present like, minimize the pain, the reality, don't pretend like it's going on.
Mhm.
It's simply focus on having the strength to get through this moment, and then that'll give you the strength to get through 2 months. And the
Mm.
the moment by moment build on each other.
Mhm.
And so that was one huge source of strength of learning to live on the moment in the moment and take it literally moment by moment, day by day. And that's how I got through high school. Okay, let me focus on getting from 6 in the morning to 10, and then from
Mhm.
10 to lunch. And that sounds crazy now to say, but that was very much about mental survival. It's like, okay, I can do this between 9 and 12.
Mhm.
I don't know how I'll get through the day after 12, but I know I can do 9 to 12. So it was teaching myself to take life in small moments and then build on the strength that I just previously had.
And what great wisdom in that for
Yeah.
anyone who's going through a hard time. Like, that was wisdom for everybody, I think. Like, look at what's right in front of you and do what you can right now.
And do
Beautiful.
what you can. Yeah.
Mhm.
And realize when you can do that, using that as strength to move forward.
Mhm.
Right? Regardless, whatever it is that we're going through, doesn't matter how big or small we categorize it. Yeah, just taking it in a moment, taking it in small steps rather than being overwhelmed by the whole entire future.
Yeah.
And the other major support that I really, really want to share that is not going to sound like support when I instantly say it, but I definitely want to highlight it for others, for us just to become aware of in difficulty. So I have one older brother, and he obviously, he treated me and thought of me. I was not that annoying little sister, right?
Right.
Would
Mhm.
you just like leave me alone and be quiet for 5 seconds?
Yeah. Yeah.
He just continued to treat me normal, like that little sister that would never leave him alone, regardless of what he was doing.
Mhm.
That was incredible support. Well, let me back up and say, at the time, I thought he was the meanest brother ever created,
Yeah.
right? Because I was like, you're not blaming me, you're not calling me, you're not feeling sorry for me, like you're just
Yeah.
mean. But that was the greatest source of support because here's what it taught me. And this is what I want all of us to be aware of. In the midst of trauma, in the midst of adversity, we are still us. We still
Mhm.
have gifts and purpose and meaning in this world. And when we're going through trauma and difficulty, it's so easy to be absorbed by that. We think we're less than. We think
Mhm.
we don't matter. We think we're not enough. Like, oh, my gifts aren't good enough anymore. Everyone else's
Yeah.
gifts or what they can contribute is better, is more valuable. So if he had babied me and cuddled me and felt sorry for me, that's what I would have believed. The
Mhm.
world caters to me. I don't have a place in this world to receive and to give. It's just all about me being victim. Everyone feels sorry for me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But he treating me like he always did taught me, oh, I'm still me. He believes
Mhm.
in me. He still
Yeah.
thinks, like, even though then I
Yeah.
thought it was a mean way to believe in someone, but he still sees that value in gifts, the gift of the world. So again, that's what I really want to highlight. In addition to that, taking it moment by moment for us all to realize Yes, the trauma is so difficult and it is absolute survival mode. And once we get through that survival, to remember and know we're us. We still have gifts, we still have purpose, and that's enough to give to this world. The world still needs what we have to give.
What a great shout out to siblings. Do you think part of that was he didn't really think you were fragile? Like, probably maybe your parents were really worried about you. I'm sure they were. That would be hard to watch as a parent. You know, doctors, or you're going in and they're concerned about it. Did that kind of help you see like you're not as fragile as maybe you were treated in other areas?
100%, 100%. And yes, thank you for saying that because I definitely want to say more on that. The fragile came within myself.
Mm,
The fragile, because my parents guided him to treat me like this. Like they made it
mhm.
very clear to him, don't do her chores for her.
Oh, yeah,
You know, like,
nice.
your chores are your chores, her chores are her chores, and don't you dare,
Yeah.
like, do her chores for her. They were guiding him on how to treat me. Because yes, of course, as you 100% said, it was so painful, and it would have been easier for them to feel sorry for me and baby me, and it just would have been easier in the moment, right? But
Yeah.
they knew in the long run what I needed was not to be treated fragile, like I was getting ready to, just fall and crumble in a million pieces, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, I thought I was fragile. I thought I was getting ready to break mentally into shatter into 1,000 pieces. What they saw in me was potential. They knew that I had the strength once I tapped into it with support that I was going to be absolutely fine.
Mm,
So they were modeling through me, through my brother's behavior. You're not going to shatter.
yeah.
When you tap into your strength, you're going to be okay. So brilliant. Thank you, thank you, thank you for saying that and bringing that out because again, that's another point I want to make really strong. And I'm saying all this in real time, not something I'm like thought out because you just brought it up.
Mhm.
The fragile was in what I thought my capabilities were.
Yeah.
They
Uh,
saw beyond the moment.
mhm.
So, yes, absolutely. In the midst of trauma, in the midst of adversity, we feel and we are fragile. And that's
Mhm.
the gift of support. You're saying perfectly what I'm rambling and saying. We need that
No,
support
it's great.
to
Yeah.
hold us and give us strength when we feel so fragile, like we're getting ready to shatter in 1,000 pieces.
Yeah. Do you think that feeling that you had, of that fragility, or maybe, and I don't, you haven't said you said this, but this is what I say, like, "Woe is me. Why is
Yeah.
this happening to
Yeah.
me?" Do you think a lot of that was fed by comparisons, especially as a teenager, where a lot of
Yes.
people are living their life not dealing with a
Yes.
major health issue that's gonna forever alter.
1,000%. One that
Mhm.
that was my yes, 1,000%. Yes. Because again, as a teenager, I'm looking around and like, well, they're getting their driver's license. They're getting their first job. It's like a
Oh, yeah.
waitress, or like, oh, obviously I have a job, but there's so many jobs I couldn't do. So of course I was focused
Yeah.
on the jobs I couldn't do. Like, well, you know, their life looks pretty easy and smooth. Well, what? Just kind of asking that
Mhm.
question within my mind. So yes, you said it perfectly.
How were you able to shift away from that? I imagine once you were able to see you're strong, you're capable, even with this, especially with this major struggle that you're facing, how were you able to change that around to change your mindset to where no longer are you focused on being a victim or feeling fragile or not enough compared to other people, to shift that to like, yeah, I have a lot to give also?
It very much circles back to what I was saying earlier about living in the moment. Each moment built on itself. So again, what I mean by that in this context is, okay, I got through today and look at the friend I was. Look, then I started recognizing my strengths. Oh wow, look,
Mm,
I passed that test. I thought I was gonna totally fail. once I could realize in small ways the way I was being strong, the way I was moving forward, the way I was contributing, then each of those small moments built on themselves. So there
Mm.
wasn't like a magical billboard moment of like light bulb, fireworks, like I'm choosing to
Yeah.
move forward for now and forever, like this is easy. It was all those small moments that added up.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? It wasn't
Yeah.
like a major event. It was realizing, oh wow, go me. Today I only 2 panic attacks instead of 4. Okay,
Mhm.
I can do this. Oh my gosh, I only have 1 panic attack. So it's
Yeah.
like that's what I mean about the small moments built on each other.
Yeah.
And so that gave me strength to realize, oh, okay, I can tap into this level of strength.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's something that ever comes up anymore now, decades
Absolutely.
later?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. Yes,
Good, you're human
because
like the rest of us.
I'm human like the rest of us, and it's ongoing. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
magically get my sight back. I'm still a
Right. Yeah.
person without sight in a sighted world. Yes, I'm in my 40s. Yes, I'm well adjusted. Yes, I'm not in the immediate trauma, but it's still really, really hard living every
Yeah.
day in this visual world without sight. Here's the difference. The difference is now I can quickly acknowledge it and I
Mhm.
have the resources to acknowledge it and to move forward. Where in those
Yeah.
teenage years, it was like it will swallow me and I would drown in panic attack for days and weeks and months. Now it's like I can quickly recognize it and then use the resource of grit and use the resource of gratitude to move forward. So I'm not just stuck there for days and weeks. So yeah, thank you for making that point because I don't all want to paint a picture of like, ta-da, end of story, all good, because like you said,
Right.
we're human. Life, life still happens even outside of being blind, right?
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
so using those resources in every area of life is greatly beneficial.
Yeah, and what a great example of how important our focus is, what we choose to hone in on, whether it's, all the things we can't do or wish we had or wish were different versus, focusing on those little wins or the big wins.
Right, right, and they both matter. The little wins. I'm so glad you said that. The little wins and the big wins. It
Yeah.
all it all gives us strength.
Yeah. So, high school, you're essentially losing your sight. What happens after high school?
So after high school, then I went to college at Arizona State. And very specifically, everyone asked me, why did a girl from the Southeast, how
Mhm.
did she end up at Arizona State? And it's all because of their resources. Since they are one of the
Mm,
largest universities, they have a system that is integrated into the whole university. So it wasn't like, I went to like a separate school with an ASU. They just had the resources for people who are blind. So I chose them because remember, I'm just literally losing my going blind. Then I didn't know what resources I needed. I didn't know what resources were
yeah.
out there. I didn't know what resources available. So I couldn't go to a place yet and advocate for myself because I didn't know how to advocate, right? Like what was
Mhm.
out there.
Yeah.
So going to ASU was so healing because they could teach me the resources that I needed. And
Mhm.
also, it was deeply healing to be in an environment where I wasn't the only blind person. I wasn't the
Mm,
only person with a disability.
mhm.
There was like 15 of us on campus with a guide dog. There was
Yeah.
I don't even know how many people. There was hundreds of people on campus with all types of disabilities, mental, physical, So it was deeply healing to be in an environment where I wasn't the only one. And it
Mm,
was also healing to be in that college environment where it's like, hey, there's a party on Friday night. You want to come? Like, oh my
yeah.
God, they just asked me about losing my vision a year ago.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
It was just deeply healing to be normalized.
Was that scary to go from fairly newly living in this new world without sight and also living independently?
Yes and no. Yes, clearly that's terrifying because it's new, right? It's something new that you gotta
Mhm.
learn. But it was energizing because of what you said earlier. It was teaching me, "Oh, yeah, I'm not that fragile." Like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
with accommodations, I can live in a dorm room, with a guide dog and a go," so it gave me hope. That's why I say yes and no. It gave me both
Yeah.
experiences. And so that was the gift of college that again I want to highlight for all of us going through change to seek out those experiences where whatever we're going through, whatever the life change, the adversity is, to surround ourselves and tap into a network of similar people that had that
Mm.
experience, right? Like, so
Yeah.
for example, what I mean is, no, I wasn't surrounded by a bunch of people who had just lost their sight and like me, but I was surrounded by other people, both who were living as a blind person, but also who were just college students. Right? Like, so
Yeah.
that kind of told me,
Mhm.
hey, you're just a college student, kind of my brother saying, oh, you're still an annoying sister. Right? Like,
Yeah.
so just being, there's such great power when we can lean on other people who are going through a similar situation, but then also the other areas of our lives can just continue forward. So our
Yeah.
whole focus, we're not completely absorbed on the difficulty, the trauma, the adversity.
Yeah. Was loneliness ever something that was really hard for you? Feeling like you were the only one? Like, you said you didn't really focus on why me, but was it ever like, I'm alone in this? Nobody else knows what I'm experiencing before that point when you were able to connect with some people who did have a better understanding of what your experience was like?
Absolutely every single day. Yes.
Mm.
Yes, yes, yes. That was absolutely a dominant and part of the I can't. Like, I can't do that so nobody else gets it. Right? Like I would want just and I would just literally sell that, like say that, scream that, like, oh my gosh, nobody else gets this. Nobody else
Yeah.
gets how hard this is. And I finally had to get to that point of I'm right. Nobody else gets my
Yeah.
individual lived experience of becoming blind as a teenager and having to figure out life. Like that is incredibly rare. And that was a big part of the healing process and the healing journey of realizing basically that's right.
Yeah.
But what is similar is my emotional response.
Mhm.
My emotional response to blindness is very similar to other emotional response when we go through major trauma, major
Yeah.
difficulty. So that's what I had to learn to build community around, not people that could relate to my life. Because let's
Mhm.
be honest, there wasn't a lot out there.
Yeah.
But what there was out there was community that I could lean on for just, oh, we have other common interest. Or just, hey, suffer with anxiety, panic attacks, let's work through that. How do we support each other in
Mm.
that? Not
Yeah.
play victim together and whine together, but how do we empower each other forward? So again, finding those commonalities rather than just sitting there all day and be like, I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone. No one can relate because that
Yeah.
kept me stuck.
Yeah, and you said you were in denial a long time, and what you just said kind of referred to, like, some things you had to accept that yeah, nobody else was in this with you. What other role did acceptance play in some of the healing process or moving forward or being able to advance and progress in life?
Accepting this was my new normal.
Mhm.
What I would do so often, and I didn't even realize I was doing it, was in every conversation, I would somehow weave into the conversation, "When I was sighted, blah, blah, blah."
Mm. Mhm.
It's like I felt better if I could say, "But I used to be like you. I used to have 20/20."
Mm.
I felt
Mhm.
like that made me worthy.
Mhm.
If I could then say, but I used to be like you,
Yeah.
rather than just accepting, this is who I am now. Once I could get to that point of this is who I am now, that was a huge accepted piece. And I want to make it very, very clear. It's not saying this is who I am now. And so my pain doesn't matter, or my pain's
Mhm.
not real, or the
Right.
pains of the past. Why did I feel, why was that so hard? It's not minimizing my present or the past. It's doing both. It's acknowledging the pain and the difficulty while also accepting, and this is my new normal.
How did that change once you did take that to be your new normal? Was it easier to start figuring out how to live in this new world, essentially?
Absolutely. And it helped me rebuild my confidence because
Mhm.
I wasn't constantly focused on when I did have thoughts, like
Yeah.
focusing on the past. It allowed me to say, okay, this is where I am now. Let me just focus on who I am now. It gave me more mental energy.
Yeah.
It gave me more energy to just once I could accept this is who I am now, and that's okay. That's not
Yeah.
a wrong or a weakness or a less than. It is what it is. So,
Mhm.
again, both could be true because again, there was that part of me that felt like, well, if I accept this is my new normal, that's going to take away the pain of how hard it is to live life without sight.
Yeah.
So I had to get to that place of realizing two things can be true at one time.
Mm.
It can be really, really hard and take a lot of incredible emotional strength to navigate through this world without sight. And I can accept both can be true.
And I love what you said about how you kind of said, this is the reality and that's okay. I think a lot of times we fight against that. Like, it's not okay. I don't want it to be this way.
And that's and I'd love to hear your thoughts, why I fought against it because I thought that was taking away my pain. I didn't
Mm.
think that was validating or people acknowledging, not just people, myself acknowledging this is really, really hard every single day. Just
Yeah.
existing in the world is really hard.
Mhm.
I thought saying accepting myself was saying your pain is not
Yeah.
once I
Right.
realized this is okay is both. It's like, oh, okay, I can do that. I don't have to resist. So
Yeah.
I love to hear your thoughts on that. Is that kind of your experience? Do you agree with that on the why the hesitation not to say it's okay? Or do you have a different understanding?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we cause ourselves a lot of mental turmoil thinking that life is supposed to be different than what it is, and thinking that we're supposed to be different than it is. Even like you said, not or worrying that if we accept this, then we are taking away the difficulty and the
Right.
hardship of it. I love your idea that two things can be true because I think we can really get stuck so focused on one truth. One thing is truth. This is hard and difficult. But yeah, I love your idea that, yeah, this is hard and difficult. It changed my whole life. This is the hardest challenge I've ever endured. And it's also okay. And I'm okay. And I can be okay. And I can still build a whole life even though it's still hard. I love that.
Right. Yes. Yes. Thank you for summing up what I just rambled on. You
No,
summed it
it's
up
great. I love
perfectly.
your
Yeah,
thoughts.
that is
Yeah.
so if we can get to that place, there's just so much ease and just like, oh, I can breathe easier.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think so much of it is that we think that there's something wrong, you know? Obviously, losing your sight is not ideal, but it just is. It's not necessarily something wrong. It's just
Right.
what happened, whether that was genetics or
Right.
however things happen in our
Right.
life. Some
Right.
things
Right.
they just are. And yeah, as much as we wanna fight about it, we can't fight against it. We can't
Can't fight it.
change it.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. Do you feel like
Right.
that's where some of your panic originated is just, like, knowing that even if it was unconsciously, like, you weren't gonna have the ability to necessarily change this? it was beyond your control?
Yes, and it was more fear in the moment of
Mm,
how in the world will I do this?
okay, yeah.
It was how in the world will I get through. I don't even now I don't remember, like, the calculus or whatever the
Oh,
algebra was.
yeah.
How I get through calculus while I'm learning Braille and pass the class.
So maybe
That was
even
just
some of the in the
that was
scheme of life, smaller things.
right. So it was just the deep fear of how in the world is this how's this gonna happen?
Was there a point at which you were able to move past your body reacting in that way with the panic attacks? And what changes led to that?
So, yes, 100% I was able to move through the panic attacks by what I've described of learning to live in the moment and also learning to reflect back and say, I'm so proud of myself that I got through the first 3 hours of the day and had a panic attack. Maybe I can get the next 3 hours of the day. So,
Mhm.
building on that pass. And when I say pass, I mean like the past 30 seconds, the past three
Yeah,
hours yesterday. I don't
yeah.
mean past like years ago, just past like very recent. I got through lunch day without a panic attack. So again,
Mm,
just remind myself what I did have the strength to do.
mhm.
That definitely, that's where my panic attack decreased. And then also just resources implementing, exercise and eating well. I mean, I
Mm,
can't even tell you how much my anxiety decreased once I cut out a lot of processed sugar.
wow.
I mean, my panic attacks drastically decreased.
Mhm.
Just exercising and just that movement and that normal routine helped so much. So that holistic approach.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and the really hard thing is sometimes that can be so hard. It's so easy to lean into all the unhealthy stuff when you're feeling down on yourself, like, "Well,
Right!
I get
Oh
off the
my
couch.
gosh,
I'm just
I
gonna
grabbed
sit
the
here and."
M&Ms, right? Like,
Mhm.
the M&Ms and Reese's Cups and Oreos, like, that was my
Yeah,
thing. So,
yeah,
yeah, you're so right, it's so easy to lean into those, and then that just compounds it even worse, right?
yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because truly, I would come home from school and grab a bag of Oreos and a Coke and
Yeah. I think I think we've all been there where we're like, "I'm just gonna eat away my problems for a minute."
yeah, and that truly makes you feel so much physically worse. So it just
Yeah.
they all compound together, mentally, physical, right?
So college was pretty good. You learned a lot, found out that there is a world that is easier for you with all the resources and things. What happened after college?
So I majored in psychology, and my plan was to go on to grad school, focusing on psychology, get a master's in that. But then towards the end of junior year into my senior year, I realized yes, this psychology is important, and from my personal experience, I'm not just healing on the mind level. Go to a therapist, sit on a couch, and have 45 minutes
Mhm.
session is what we just talked about. It's a physical reaction to how I'm treating my body, when I'm feeding my body, how I'm sleeping. It's a mind body spirit connection is how I heal. So rather
Mm.
than going to grad school just in psychology, that's when I chose to go to Princeton and focus on a master's of theology to
Mm.
academically study theology to be able to put those pieces together of the mental, the physical, the spiritual. So those 3 years, that was my focus on how do we, as we go through trauma, as we go through adversity, how do we heal on that mind, body, spirit connection holistically? How does all the piece basically how all the pieces come together? Not
Yeah,
just
exactly.
focusing on the psychology or thought process.
Right. What are some things you found in that pursuit and even since then?
Again, that holistic approach of loving ourselves in mind, body, spirit. So it's not just like back in those high school days when I was saying, I can't, is not just telling myself, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Let me do affirmations. It's that plus everything else I do. Getting to
Yeah.
exercise, spending time outside, spending time, in the sunlight, is the exercising, the healthy eating, the sleep patterns, the mindfulness, that spiritual connection, however we define that. It's all of it coming together. It's not just one or the other. It's not just the exercise, or it's not just focusing on a spiritual higher power. It's not just one of those resources, it's how they all balance and connect together. That's that was the gift that I duly learned there, and have continued to realize in my own life and realize in so many other people's lives that I work with. Is that balance of the connection.
Yeah. Were there any specific things that you found that became really helpful and essential part of your routine in your life to maintain that balance between the different areas that we all need help in?
Yeah, so two different things I'll say them both, and then I'd love to talk more deeper on what I mean. So,
Okay.
the practice of mindfulness was
Mhm.
absolutely huge, and then gratitude.
Okay.
So, as far as mindfulness, one of the courses I took in grad school was a class on mindfulness. And again, this goes back to that kind of mindset, what we were talking about earlier when you were saying that, like, the loneliness and, no one can relate. My thought was, mindfulness? Are you serious? Like, my problem is way bigger.
Yeah.
There is no way this can help me or reduce my anxiety. Like, you've got to be kidding me. I was so resistant to it.
Mhm.
Once I got into it and practiced it and learned what it was so deeply transformative because it taught me that our thoughts are not absolute facts, that is our reality for
Mm.
now and forever.
Yeah.
So let me give you a very practical example. When I'm having a panic attack, my mindset was, oh my gosh, I'm in panic attack. Oh my gosh, this panic attack is last ever. Oh my gosh, what am I doing all of the rest of my life in panic attacks? Right. And then
Yeah.
all the anxious thoughts that feed that come from that.
Mhm.
Mindfulness taught me to realize and notice, okay, I'm having a panic attack. It is what it is. What are the resources? And now what can I do about a panic attack?
Oh, yeah.
So it taught me, rather than deep judgment of every single thought, observe the thoughts.
Yeah, and just it sounds like make a very logical approach.
Yes,
Kind of try
right.
and
Yes,
eliminate some of the rumination and emotions.
yes. Rather than jumping into every thought and what you said, ruminating on it, right? Just
Mhm.
observe it. I'm having a panic attack. No, it's my choice. What am I going to do with it? Right? What am I going to do about it? So, yes, mindfulness then and now every day, and I teach it to people I work with, observing our thoughts rather than judging and be critical and assuming every
Mm.
thought is absolutely fact and going to. I'm feeling depressed. I'm going to be depressed for now and forever. I can't ever get out of depression. Right?
Yeah.
Like, observing that thought rather than assuming that is my thought now and forever.
Yeah.
The other gift mindfulness taught me was the gift of breathing. And that sounds so weird to say. It's like, well, we wouldn't be here if we didn't know how to breathe, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't
Yeah.
know how to breathe. I was breathing, especially in anxiety, almost like I'm
Yeah.
panic.
Mhm.
What I learned is to breathe from my diaphragm, the deep inhalations that taught me, slow down.
Mm.
Slow down your racing thoughts. Slow down just your whole body's tension.
Yeah.
And again, that sounds like, are you serious? I mean, I've been breathing since I was born or wouldn't be here.
Mhm.
But learning how to breathe was an absolute game changer.
Yeah, and it
So
really is incredible the way it can change even your physiology. It changes the rate of
yeah,
your heartbeat if you're able
the
to
heart
step into those
thanks.
deep breaths, and then
Yeah,
that changes the way you're feeling, and that changes
yes.
what you're thinking. So I love that. Such a great tip, like, breathe.
The
We all do
breathe,
it, but
right,
yeah, take a minute and think about it and do it deeper, and
and do
yeah,
it. And
it
for
is incredible.
anyone listening, like, if you're like me and like, "Oh my gosh," like, rolling your eyes, like, "Oh my gosh, breathing's never gonna help my situation." Be stubborn like I was, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna be stubborn, I'm gonna try this to prove it doesn't work, right? Prove me wrong."
Yeah.
Just try to prove yourself wrong to see it actually does work. It doesn't seem like it's big enough or that it isn't powerful enough,
Hmm.
but it absolutely is.
Yeah, and a really cool, incredible tool that we all have such easy access to if we can remember to do it and take advantage of it.
And that's the gift. We have access to it, right? Regardless of
Yeah,
where we are, if we're in a crowded airport or if we're alone in our bedroom, like it
right.
doesn't matter what
Mhm.
situation, we have access. So, yes, I cannot say, I can talk for hours about mindfulness, how good it is, and just how beneficial it's been to me then, and how I've continued to use it as a daily practice to keep me grounded, to keep me in the present. And equal to that is the gift of gratitude.
Mhm.
Gratitude has been the if I had to name one, if you force me, like, okay, you talked about all these different resources, but name one that's been the most beneficial, it has absolutely been gratitude.
Mhm.
And I would love to share how gratitude started for me because it started the same way mindfulness did. I want to make it very
Yeah,
clear. I never woke up one day and was like, oh, being a teenager and going blind is great.
right.
I am so
This is just what I
grateful.
wanted in life.
Yeah, this is just what
Yeah.
I wanted. Everybody needs to try this, right? Like, I didn't instantly wake up one day and say, gee, world, I'm so thankful. So I don't want to paint that picture. Don't want anyone to walk away thinking,
Yeah.
oh, she's weird.
Yeah.
She's grateful she went blind. It all started by a mentor at the end of high school. She literally said to me, Laura, I want you to start developing a mindset of gratitude.
Mhm.
And every day I want you to think about three things that you're grateful for and make them specifically from that day.
Mm.
And being in the South, I did the respectful thing of nodding, smiling, and saying thank you. But in my
Mhm.
head, I'm thinking, are you serious?
Yeah. Do you
Absolutely
know what I'm
not.
going through right now? Come
Exactly.
on.
Literally, I thought that in my head, like, do you not know what I'm going through? Like, in
Yeah.
case you forgot, I'm going blind, right?
Right.
Like, I have nothing to break for. So again, just like the mindfulness, it was out of stubbornness that I tried it just to prove her wrong. I'm gonna tell her I came up with nothing because there's nothing to be
Yeah.
grateful for in the blindness, right?
Yeah.
What I slowly realized was she was not teaching me to be grateful for the blindness.
Right.
She was teaching me gratitude that was focused on what helps us navigate, what are we appreciative for that helps us through life.
Mhm.
So, for example, a very practical example, she was not teaching me to wake up and say, or at the end of the day, say, oh, I'm so grateful for this blindness. She was teaching me at the end of the day to say, I'm so grateful for this guide dog that helped me navigate the world.
Mm.
So gratitude is not well, here's what she was teaching me, what I've learned and what I use literally every single day now. Gratitude is not minimizing our pain. It's not ignoring our pain. It's not covering up our pain. It's not being all positive and happy and acting like everything's great and easy and smooth and roses. It's acknowledging what empowers us through our life.
Mm.
So again, it looks like me saying, I'm grateful to have that brother that didn't call me a baby and taught
Yeah.
me that I'm still me. I'm grateful for those parents that taught me to live in the moment and be in the present. I'm grateful that I was able to tap into that strength and not just shatter emotionally into 10,000 pieces.
Mhm.
So it's a total reframe on what gratitude is. And again, it's what we talked about earlier of two things can be true at the same time. I can
Mhm.
be grateful for the gift of a guide dog and be deeply sad that I can't see whatever it is that day I'm sad, I can't see. So again, it's not gratitude to minimize the pain or to cover up the reality, is to say, here's what I appreciate that is getting me through.
Mhm.
Like
Have you
I people laugh at this and I laugh at myself. I'm deeply grateful when I say it right now. I'm deeply grateful for Alexa and for Siri.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that helps me get through every day. I talk to Alexa and Siri more than I talk to my husband and my family, like anybody,
Yeah.
my friend, my best friends, whatever. I'm so and normally you just think, oh, whatever, Siri's on my iPhone, right? Like,
Mhm.
Alexa just is what it is.
It's
We don't
convenient, but not necessary.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But for me, I'm deeply grateful. Just this morning, literally real time example. I'm not like making this up, real time example. I use Alexa to adjust the thermostat this morning.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I'm deeply grateful I didn't have to depend on someone else to do it for me. I just picked up my iPhone and did it.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by gratitude, that reframe of being appreciative and aware of what we have that helps us navigate through all of life.
Do you feel like I know some people who have had really hard things happen to them will kinda look back and say, "That's how I would have chosen my life to go now because of all the lessons it taught me," or that kind of idea. Have you come to feel that way with your sight, or is it something that you're like, "If I could change it, I would still absolutely change it"? Because I mean, I lean a little that way where I'm like, "I would have loved things to be different." I'm just curious, how has that been for you?
Absolutely. If I could change it tomorrow, if I could snap my fingers and have 2020, I absolutely would. The
Yeah.
difficulty when you drop something on the kitchen floor and it rolls under the refrigerator,
Oh, yeah.
all the mental lessons in the world, all the spiritual lessons
Yeah.
will help you find that blueberry you're getting ready to step on.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then it gets
Yeah.
on your shoes, and then you got blue marks all across your kitchen. Like, no, the very practical ways of life. As to be able the gift to be able to see that, I would change
Mhm.
it instantly if I could.
Yeah.
I mean, the again, it is so difficult. This world is so visual.
Mhm.
To be able to see, absolutely, I would change it if I could.
Yeah. And I think even that is so courageous to just realize life is less than ideal. It's still not what I would choose despite what it's taught me, and still I'm moving forward in the best way possible.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for saying that, and that's like the mic drop moment of everything we've said today, because I wanna name what you just said. You named both truths. You gave permission for two things to be true. Life is not ideal, and I'm having incredible strength and doing the best and still moving forward. Most people wanna say, "Oh, just the lessons are worth it and it's all good." No,
Yeah.
that's not my experience, right? And that's what I want everyone to hear and give everyone permission listening to know it's okay to say life is not what I would choose and I'm doing the best I can with what I have.
I agree. I think that's a really powerful mindset to carry. It eliminates some of that fighting that we're like, no,
Yes.
I should just be so happy that everything else is good and not care that I
Yeah,
can't
oh my
see
gosh,
anymore.
if I had a penny for every time someone said that to me, just be happy for the things you do have. It's just like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, this whole world could have retired." If
Right.
I
Yeah.
if
You're
I
like,
had a
"Well, I
great
am, but that doesn't mean I still don't have my sight."
exact that's what I say is I
Yeah.
am. I am deeply grateful. Yeah, I still can't see. Like that's you
Yeah.
try like you put on your glasses when you get to the bathroom at night. You turn on the light.
Yeah.
So like when people keep it real, that's the real truth. I mean, that for me, that's the reality of exactly what you said. It's not ideal. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And I'm moving forward and doing the best I can in the circumstances.
Yeah, you've talked a little bit about your guide dogs and the other resources you have. How did those things help your life improve?
We could talk for 12 million days, hours about the gift of a guide dog.
Mm,
I can't even accurately put into words the incredible gift. So much so, my book is called Harnessing Courage. And the reason it's
mm,
called Harnessing Courage is because the harness is what the leather strap that goes around the dog. And then the
mhm,
handle of the harness, I, as the blind person, hold. And then that's how the dog guides me forward. So I have deep respect. I've had two guide dogs. I have deep, deep respect for them. That's the only reason I named it Harnessing Courage, because it took courage for them to guide me forward. It took
yeah,
courage for a little 60-pound black lab, right? So,
yeah,
yeah, the gift of having a guide dog, I cannot put into words. And that was a huge part of my acceptance process because their love is unconditional.
oh, yeah,
They didn't care if I could see, not could see, could see
oh,
5 years
yeah,
ago,
not at all.
like, they're just like,
Whatever,
"Are my kibbles in my
doesn't
bowl
matter to
twice a
me.
day,
Yeah,
lady?" "Do you
absolutely.
do you have fresh water? Is that bowl
Yeah,
full of fresh water? And do you have Nalabones for me?" Like, just the unconditional love, I can't put into words. Like, that my first guide dog, she believed in me to move forward and to feed her kibbles and all that. When I
uh-huh,
still was like, "Yeah, I think I can do this, but I'm not sure." It was kinda like it was like a seesaw, you know?
yeah,
Like, it was like the "I think I can" train, right? Like, and
right.
you just instilled in me, "Yes, you can, because we'll do this together."
Mm,
So, I mean, truly, I could tell you story after story after story of just the impact, the gift of each of their presence was unbelievable. Yeah, just that emotional healing. I had no idea. I mean, I grew up with dogs, but
uh-huh,
just animals, but I had no idea the support she would give me emotionally. I was thinking just
mm,
on the physical guide dog level.
right.
I wasn't at all thinking on the deep emotional, spiritual level.
Are there any particular instances you especially remember about times that your dogs helped you, obviously physically, but also in that emotional space?
So specifically in the emotional states, I will never ever forget. So my first guide dog, she was so deeply in tune to my emotions. And
Uh-huh.
when I would be sobbing or just be upset, she would always just come and sit at my feet.
Mm, mhm.
And it wasn't this I'm as I'm saying this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It wasn't like, okay, I'm here to fix it. Right?
Yeah,
Like, it was she literally would just curl up in a little tiny ball and lay at my feet. Or, if I was sitting or standing or else,
yeah,
wherever I was, she would just like and she wasn't like trying to like get my attention or like, hey, play with me or, like distract
yeah,
me. Hey, it's food time, remember? You know? But it was
yeah.
just very much just like, I'm here.
Just there with you in your
Yeah,
struggle.
I'm just there waiting the pain.
Mhm.
And that was such a powerful lesson that I write about in the book because it was just that support in the pain. She just sat with me in the pain. Again, like I said, she wasn't trying to distract me or minimize me or where's my Alabama? I can't find it. She just literally would curl up in a ball and just lay at my feet, just sit at my feet. And it was just that constant support that was like, "Okay, all right, I can do this."
Yeah. And then the other half of your book is courage. What role has courage played in this whole experience?
So, I wanna quickly say what I thought courage was, and then that'll
Mhm.
make clear how I define it now, why I wrote so much about it in the book. So, I thought it was be independent, don't depend on others, suck it up, get over it, swallow your emotions, don't feel your emotions.
Mm.
That's
Mhm.
strength. That's courage.
Just power through it.
You power through. Yeah, yeah. What I learned courage was, and this came a lot through what I just described in my guide dog, I
Mhm.
learned that courage is acknowledging our pain and then choosing to move forward.
Mm.
And that's to me how I've learned courage because when I acknowledge my anxiety, yes, it might decrease a little bit, but I'm still feeling anxious when I have to move forward.
Yeah.
Validating it makes it better, but it doesn't make it go away. So it's not like sit in your pain until it goes away and then you move forward. No, it's in
Mhm.
the midst of the depression, the anxiety, the anger, still
Oh, yeah.
choosing to move forward. That's deep courage because it doesn't feel good, right? Like it
Yeah,
doesn't
it's not
feel,
easy.
yeah, it's not easy, right? Like you don't have that kumbaya moment and then you move forward.
Right. Yeah, I
So
love that.
that's why I say validating emotions, and for me, that's a complete game changer. Because, like you said, it was power through.
Mhm.
That's courage. So it took a long time to learn my
Yeah.
current way of courage.
I really love that definition too, because I think when we're in the midst of those really dark times, it is when we feel the weakest and the most pathetic sometimes. I
Mhm.
should be better than this. I should just be able to get over it or whatnot.
Right? Right?
But the idea of like that's the time when you keep going, I feel like is such a powerful concept. Like it's easy to keep going when it's easy, when things are
Right.
smooth sailing, like when you have no opposition. I mean, that's when it's easy. It's when you are
Yes.
just hammered down and in the trenches and you choose to take one more step in the right direction. That's when, like you said, it is so commendable. That's when people are really demonstrating their courage is, yeah, it's terrible right now. And you know that, and you know that you're trudging through mud and you keep going anyway.
Yes. Right. Right.
Yeah, that's
Perfectly said.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Talk a little bit about grit. You kind of mentioned that was a source of strength for you. That can sometimes be seen as powering through, right? You just suck it up and do it. But what role
Yeah.
did that
Just
play for you?
get over it. Yeah. Exactly
Mhm.
how I define courage is how I define grit is not that power through. And what I'd love to talk about the grit that was so difficult for me to learn, took such a long time. I thought grit was meant doing it all on my own and never
Mhm.
asking for help,
Mm.
never depending on others in a healthy, interdependent way.
Mhm.
What I've learned grit is when I need help, it's actually a strength to say, this is what I need and this is how I need help. Can you help me?
Yeah.
That is really, really gritty. It takes up that combines the grit and the courage to be
Yeah,
able
that
to
does
say,
take a
"This
lot
is
of courage.
yeah, this is what I need and this is why."
Mhm.
That and I learned again, I'll give you a prime example of how I learned this. So when ASU, as I said, was so healing because I was surrounded by other people who were blind, who didn't care if I was sighted or blind.
Mhm.
Princeton, I was the first blind person to go to the Master's of Divinity program.
Oh, wow.
The gift in that was it gave me the opportunity to learn grit from the advocacy, to
Mm.
be an advocate for myself.
Mhm.
So it taught me I had to know my needs, I had to clearly communicate my needs, and then I had to depend on others to meet those needs.
Mm.
That takes a lot of grit.
Yeah, I think that depending on others can be a really hard piece of life. Feel great if we could just take care of ourselves and do it all on our own, and that's kind of not how humanity works very well.
Right. But we wanted to, right? And that
Mhm.
look, we think that's like a pillar of strength,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, that 3 years gave me a really good lived example of you have to learn, you have to know what you need first and then have the courage, have the grit to ask for it. That that's really hard.
Yeah.
'Cause again,
Yeah,
we want to
I
be seen
agree.
as I'm doing this all on my own.
What advice do you have for people who are going through life changes, especially hard life altering changes? What would you tell people who are in kind of those dark places where they're realizing life's not going to be what they thought it would be, or it's not going to be the same as they expected?
My very first advice is acknowledge the difficulty of the change of the adversity. And the reason I say that is because in high school, I want to jump from, okay, I'm currently losing my sight to how will the rest of my life work out? How will I live when I'm
Mhm.
60? Right. And so many people I work with, they all come to me and say, this is my change. How do I get that new job? Right? Like,
Yeah.
how do I get through this, death of a child? How, how do I get from A to Z
Mhm.
without going through the other 24 letters of the alphabet?
Yeah.
Because we want to jump to the end, which is great, but we miss acknowledging the pain.
Mm.
For me, healing started, and for those I work with, the healing journey starts when we validate, acknowledge the pain. This is really, really, really hard. Again, in high school, I was comparing myself to all my friends that were sighted. So of course
Yeah.
I was getting panicky. Oh, they're not going through life without sight, sister.
Yeah.
Once I realized that, oh, you're comparing something that doesn't even come close to the same thing.
Mhm.
So the first advice is validate what you're going.
Yeah.
My second advice, and this is really, really hard, let someone in your support system be the strength for you. And that is not a weakness. So to know depending on others in the time of crisis, in that survival timeline, that time of you're trying to figure out how will I live through this, that's
Mhm.
not a weakness to depend on others.
Yeah.
And that support might look like it doesn't have to be a whole tribe of a million people. That might look like your animal, your pet, that
Yeah.
random, uh, you know, owl that, that visits in your backyard once a week.
Yeah,
It might
absolutely,
look
yeah.
like the gift of a waterfall. It might look like the ocean, music, art. Uh, I don't want to paint the picture of like it's got to be this perfect. You have to have 10 people in your support group.
Yeah.
It's
You have to
not
have a
like a
perfect companion that's there
yeah,
for you, doing
exactly,
it whatever they
exactly.
need in exactly the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just depend on what is that resource for you. Is it
Mhm.
artwork? Is it music? Is it nature? Is it animals? Is it other humans? Is it the laughter of children?
Yeah.
Depend on something outside of yourself to be that support.
Mm. Yeah, I love that because that's something everybody can access, right? They're one of
Yes,
those things in some way you could
yes,
find a way to
yes,
access those
yes.
things, even if you maybe don't have a close person in your life.
Right, right.
You could find that in volunteering with children or
Exactly,
volunteering with animals or your pet that you
exactly,
have. Yeah, I love that.
exactly. 1000%.
Tell everybody where they can find your book, any other things that they can do to connect with you.
So the best place is my website,
Mhm.
laurabratton.com. It has all the resources on you can buy the book there. You can through the speaking, through my coaching, through just connecting, LinkedIn, email. It's all the resources are on the website.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for being here. I absolutely love the approach that you take. I think a lot of times in the self improvement, self help, whatever, it can be easy to just lean towards like do X, Y, and Z, and your life will be rosy and perfect, and you will be fixed and healed. And I think, as you've really pointed out, it is such a process, and it is a balance of not just the good things, but also yeah, there's bad things and that's okay. And it's okay to even be sad about that and to grieve the things that you thought you wouldn't have. So I really love your approach and the wisdom that you were able to share with us today. And thank you so much for being here and sharing your story and all the intricacies of it.
The gift was absolutely mine. Thank you just for creating this powerful conversation and dialogue. And I just hope that everyone that listens takes away exactly what you said, that two truths can be true.
Thank you for joining us and learning about horses that heal and the humans who help them. We hope you'll continue with us on this journey. We'd love for you to subscribe on your favorite platform and follow The Touch of a Mustang on any of the major social media outlets. Please share with your friends, anyone who loves horses, or anyone who might be struggling and could benefit from this message. If you have felt the healing power of horses or help them in their divinely appointed mission, please reach out. We want to hear your story. As we say goodbye, always remember that the horse is always there to help you heal.